Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in Judea, during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." The Greek word for magi is translated Eastern scientist. These were learned men who studied the stars. Experts believe the Magi came from Babylonia or Persia. Why they made this journey is the real question. The Jews had been captives in Babylon 7 centuries before. The scriptures they left behind, known as the Babylonian Talmud, held the prophecy of the promised king of the Jews.
Daniel was ranked the chief of the wise men. He was the prime minister of both the Babylonian Empire and the Persian Empire because he was such a remarkable man full of wisdom. And given that, I think even hundreds of years later, wise men in the East would have taken very close attention to the prophet Daniel and what he had written.
7 sets of 7, plus 62 sets of 7, will pass from the time the command is given to rebuild Jerusalem until a ruler, the Anointed One, comes.
What are these sevens? Well, if you look at Daniel 4, 1 7 equals 7 years. So there's your formula, and they would have been able to easily calculate when the Messiah would be expected to appear. And they would also have been aware that the Messiah, in terms of his coming and beginning in ministry, according to Jewish law, would have to be 30 years. So they took the date of the first decree to rebuild Jerusalem, 457 BC, add 483 years, subtract 30 years, you get 5 BC. That's a good time to start looking at the sky.
Many scholars suggest the year 5 BC as the most likely time Jesus was born. Historical records tell us Herod the Great died in 4 BC. And just before he died, Herod had all the baby boys under the age of 2 in Bethlehem killed. Placing the birth of the Messiah in 5 BC would also fit with Daniel's prophecy. This means the star probably appeared to the Magi around 6 or 7 BC.
And what impresses me, they had such great faith that even though they didn't know the location, they went anyway. And they said, when we get to Jerusalem, somebody will be able to help us find the location.
One of the biggest debates that continues to rage among scholars is about the Bethlehem star. What was it? A meteor? A comet? A supernova? Or was it simply an unexplainable supernatural event?
Johannes Kepler, the great astronomer at Prague, noticed something in the sky that absolutely intrigued him. It was the triple conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. 3 times, Jupiter almost approaches Saturn. Johannes calculated that that triple conjunction would happen only every 800 years. This triple conjunction has a lot to say about why the Magi would make the trip.
The problem, though, is it would appear as a single star only for about an hour, because after all, both planets are moving relative to the background stars. And so it could appear as a single star in one part of the world and not in a different part of the world. What you see in Matthew 2 is that the Magi referred to it as the star. And you see that repeatedly, so it seems like it would have to be a single object.
Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared.
I don't think the Christmas star was a supernova. A supernova, when it explodes in our galaxy, literally outshines all the other stars in our galaxy. When the wise men arrive in Jerusalem, Herod and the Jewish officials there are oblivious to the star. They have no idea. And if it was a spectacular comet, they say, oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Another relatively new theory is that of a reoccurring nova.
Novae are less spectacular explosive events than stars. So it's not amongst the brightest of the stars, but it'd be bright enough that you could see it with the naked eye.